And look at us, we're both wearing collared shirts.
See, that's proper.
That is proper.
Very proper.
I really wanted to wear a t-shirt today, but I'm like, yeah, we're going to a steakhouse. Probably bad form. Look at that. It's Isaiah Sharkey right next to me. We are in the parking lot of Stefani Prime in Lincolnwood, right on Cicero and Pratt. Car Con Carne, presented by the Autobarn Mazda of Evanston. We're in Lincolnwood right now. If we wanted to, Isaiah, when we're done recording, we could go right over to the Autobarn Mazda of Evanston, 1015 Chicago Avenue. You could test drive something like this, the Mazda 6. We're in a brand new Mazda 6, big enough to house a backseat full of food from Stefani Prime, big enough to host the guitar magnificence of Isaiah next to me. This car is super comfortable. The safety features are top notch, and I was blasting Isaiah's new album through this amazing sound system on my way here from downtown. And speaking of which, it's really hard to drive the speed limit in this car. This is one of those cars you just tap the accelerator, you're going super fast, but you don't feel it, because this is a luxurious car. Autobarn Mazda of Evanston, 1015 Chicago Avenue. Isaiah, you are here. We have food lovingly provided by Stefani Prime. Are you ready to eat?
I am ready to eat.
I'm so ready to eat. It's Car Con Carne. Let's eat in the car. It's Car Con Carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne. All right, so we're going to slowly bust out the food. For those who may not know who you are, Isaiah, first of all, you're a local dude. You're a Chicagoan.
Yep.
Just last week, people may have seen you on stage playing guitar. You are John Mayer's guitarist. You're in the band.
That's right.
You smoke on guitar. And I was saying this before we started recording. Like, Mayer is a sick guitar player. He is. It's almost supernatural.
Yeah.
So if John Mayer has you playing guitar in his band, he probably thinks that you're supernatural. I mean, that's. I mean, it's watching the two of you together. I mean, it's like wizards trading spells on stage. It's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You know, we myself, John, and the other guitarist, David Ryan Harris, we kind of nerd out on gear and, you know, like I said, albums and artists that we love to listen to that were, you know, fantastic guitar players. So we all share that you know, that interest and love, you know. So
well, and I know you have a voracious love of music, and to learn that, all you need to do is listen to the new album, which you just put out
June 21st.
June 21st.
Yes.
So it is Love is the Key, Cancerian Theme.
Yeah.
And just, my God, we'll talk about the album, but I mean, I hear so much. I'm probably not the first person to draw a comparison to Curtis Mayfield, another Chicagoan. But I mean, I hear Talking Heads, I hear trip hop, I hear all kinds of stuff going on musically.
Yeah, I grew up in a very, very diverse type of listening home, you know, with music, you know. So my grandfather owned a record store, and
then where was that?
That was in like north side of Chicago, and
what was it called?
It was called Sharkey's, actually.
Okay.
Back in the early '80s, and for whatever reason, my grandfather didn't keep the record store, and my dad was able to get all those records.
Oh man!
And so he had.
So for a young kid like you, like being able to dive into all those crates.
Oh man, my dad would play records all the time, and we'd sit up and listen to stuff from Pink Floyd to Led Zeppelin to, you know, Jimmy Smith to Jimi Hendrix to, I mean, Steely Dan, Toto, you name it, we were listening to it.
Best Steely Dan album?
Ooh, most people would say Asia.
Most people would. I wouldn't.
I wouldn't say that. I'm kind of torn between Pretzel Logic and Katie Lied.
I was going Royal Scam.
Royal Scam is a great album.
Kid Charlemagne.
Loved it. I loved it. I actually, everything you did on that album I really love. I actually did a remake of that I never released, actually.
Well, the good news is, Isaiah, you earned the right to have dinner. All right, we're just going to bring this back. This is going to actually puncture a lung or something.
Oh yeah, knock one of my teeth out. But it's all good.
Isaiah, why do you have to come off the road? Well, I was doing a podcast in a car, and we were eating in the... All right, so again, I want to thank Stefani Prime. The food here, the menu is exemplary. And what's nice about this place, I mentioned it's at Skokie Boulevard, or Cicero, and Pratt. It's really well positioned because there aren't a lot of higher-end restaurants in this area. The nearest steakhouse is maybe in Wilmette. Plenty of stuff in Chicago, but for this suburban area, it is really limited. So this is a great central location. It's right off the Edens, in between Peterson and Toohey. And can you smell this?
It smells absolutely incredible.
So this is I want to say risotto,
Yeah.
but he pronounced it risotto.
Risotto.
Right. He did that whole like chef restaurant owner thing, risotto.
Yes.
And did you say it's a 4 cheese risotto?
4 cheese, yes.
I'm going to let you dig into this, but I want to show it off. Oh, stop
wow, look
it,
at
Isaiah.
that. Look at that. That's beautiful.
I don't know if
And
you
it smells just as great as it looks.
it's also piping hot. I think I just burned off my fingerprints. Grab this if you can. I'm going to get you a setup.
All right. This is great.
Oh, look at this. Cloth napkins.
How about that? Thank you.
You know the podcast is really going places when there are cloth napkins in the car. I may steal a forkful of that.
That's all good. Oh, good.
It smells so good. So he also brought us, he told us to go in reverse order. So however he packed it, there's a steak sandwich in here. We're going to bust this open and look at this.
Look at that.
I have risotto on my hands.
Yeah, I'll take a little forkful myself. Let's see here.
Okay, so this is the steak sandwich. And I don't,
This is pretty
badass.
nice.
And here's the thing, you can sweat out an entire meal from Stefani Prime on stage in one night. Like, I'm not worried
2-hour
about you.
show, yeah, that'd be all right.
I'm not worried about me. I'm a little concerned with. I'm going to have some of the steak sandwiches. You try the risotto.
I want to try this, yeah. See what this is like. See. Oh, my goodness. This is incredible.
It looks so good, dude.
Yeah, this is incredible. You got it.
Let's jump around a little bit.
Okay.
Since I started by talking about Mayer, how did you hook up with him?
Well, back in 2016, I had the privilege of working with the Roots, Questlove. Questlove called me and said, "Hey, we want you to be a part of the house band for the Roots picnic in New York." And the headliner that year was D'Angelo, which I've worked with for years.
That's another question I'm getting to, but okay.
And so myself, along with Pino Palladino, sat in for the Roots picnic band, and John Mayer was actually on the bill as well. And so I was told that John really liked D'Angelo. He was a big fan, and he always wanted to work with him and jam with him. So they made that happen that year. So John came in and rehearsed with us and sat in and jammed, and me and him got an instant connection with playing. And
Because that happens in music. Like, you just know when you have like the kind of lockstep kindred spirit.
Oh yeah, it was just immediate, vibe. And 2 weeks later, I got a call from his management. Hey, would you like to tour with John this upcoming year for the Search for Everything tour? And I said, absolutely. Why not? So
Done.
yeah.
One thing I like about what Mayer does on stage, and maybe this is from him being with the Dead, but the set list changes every night. So if you're going to 2 nights in a row at the United Center, you're not getting the same show. There'll be some overlap, but I think it's fun for the artist, but it's fun for the fans too, that unpredictability, because we live in a time when you can pull up on setlist.fm every set list from every show every night, and you know what to expect.
Exactly, and you have like YouTube, which is great, but a lot of times it kind of spoils the actual experience, the live experience, because you almost have to change it up, to make every night something special and different for people who actually paid tickets and came for the experience. So
I like being surprised as a fan, but I also can't resist if the information's out there.
Right.
I'm going to see Iron Maiden on Thursday. I know exactly what they're going to play, start to finish.
Yeah.
And I hate myself for knowing it. But I couldn't hold back.
Yeah, it's a win-lose type of thing. It's a give and take type of thing with the technology and resources we have these days. But yeah, set list changes, and it keeps it really, like you said, keeps it really exciting.
How does it feel to play the United Center?
Oh man, it's amazing, great experience. I never, as a kid, I would go see the Bulls play, and take my daughter to see Disney on Ice there. And I never thought, a couple years later, like, oh man, playing at the United Center on stage. So it's really cool, and it's hometown.
It's surreal, right? And do you have time when you're on tour to just kind of take in being home, or do you have to wait till you're off the road?
Kind of a little bit of both. I try to stay connected to home as much as possible on the road.
Right.
Calling my family, checking on my daughter, and all those things like that, and checking in, and yeah, So you get a little bit of both.
That's right. I don't mean to keep you from
No,
eating.
it's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
Another thing I like about the Mayor sets, covers. You're a fan of all kinds of music. Clearly, he is too.
Yes.
And you get to kind of stretch out and do a Prince cover one night, a Petty cover the other night.
That's right.
That's kind of fun.
It is. And what he will do, we'll get an email the night before. Check out this tune. We'll go over it in sound check. See how it goes. Oh, we'll go over a couple times. That's great. And we'll do it that night. So it's really, really cool.
One more Mayor question. I've only met him a couple times, and it's been a while. But can you confirm that he's the tallest man in rock?
I think he is. I really think he is. Not too far from Shaquille O'Neal. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, he's a pretty tall guy. I think 6'5", maybe.
That's
6'4", 6'5". That's pretty tall.
This has been discussed before, but as a Chicagoan, people kind of label you as almost like a child prodigy. You were out there. You're putting yourself out there musically from an early age. How early were you when you started gigging?
I started gigging probably when I was about 12 or 13. Started doing gigs at we would call them outings at church, but I would do a lot of choir concerts. Because I grew up playing with my dad and my brothers in church, and so guest choirs would come, and sometimes they would have celebrity gospel artists come and perform at special events at the church, and so I would play, and they would hear me and say, "Oh, I wanted that kid to come play with me." So I would play with another choir, and then play with another choir, and then eventually play with a gospel artist, and then it just kind of stemmed from that.
Are you a spiritual dude?
I am a very spiritual guy. Yeah, not so much religious, but spiritual.
Fair enough.
Grew up in church for sure.
And you grew up in the Cabrini area?
I grew up. I lived in Cabrini area since I was born in Cabrini Green, and then I moved to Maywood, Illinois, at the age of 10.
What do you remember? Cabrini, obviously, storied history, violence, crime.
Yeah.
Scary stuff.
Yeah.
And it's certainly not the kind of environment that most kids graduate out of.
Right. Yeah. I grew up seeing a lot of little different things that was disturbing for a child and for anyone in fact that would live in that area. Seeing a lot of gang activity and a lot of violence and stuff like that. But my mother and father did a great job with me and my brothers and sisters, keeping us out of trouble. We all never were in gangs or never sold drugs or anything like that, and they kept us going to church and kept us rooted and grounded, and eventually got us from out of that area and moved us to a kind of milder area, So
I love hearing that. So parenting goes a long way.
Oh man, yeah. My parents.
Do you take lessons from your parents into your parenting?
I do. Yes, I do. And then I find myself, when you're a kid, you're kind of like, I don't understand my parents. I don't understand why they do this. And then you get older, a little older, and have your own children. It's like, I'm acting like my parents.
It happens.
Like, oh
It
man,
totally
I'm my
happens.
dad now. Yeah. So.
Let's talk about "Love Is the Key," the new album. I hinted towards just this bouillabaisse of sounds. I hate to use the word influences, but you throw a lot of stuff out there. But more importantly, I think as I listen to this album, there is some serious baby-making music happening on this album. I feel like I got pregnant just listening to it on the way here. I'm going to name it after you, obviously.
That's great. Hey, Isaac or Isaiah? Or just plain Zay?
Like Time, Eternal Flame.
Yes.
These are like turn the lights down low.
Yes.
Kind of
very
jams.
Intentional. Very intentional. I got into this whole thing of listening to Marvin Gaye's "I Want You" album, and that's one of my favorite albums of all time. And got in that phase, listened to him and that album, and also what's the album? Well, just all of the Isley Brothers stuff. And so I was like, wow, I was fascinated. I'm like, man, I want to. It just got me in that mode and that spirit to create that type of music. So yeah, that was the goal. But there's not enough of that. I think it's not enough love songs out there.
Well, and it's no accident the word love is in your two albums.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the world needs love, right? So,
I no argument.
And so I always feel like there needs to be some type of stream, line of that topic of love, So
Going back to that title track, I remember listening to that for the first time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what's happening here? Like, it just, it really grabbed me. That soulful sound, to me, a very 70s sound.
Yeah.
And then we get a good taste of your guitar playing, especially towards the end of that song.
Yeah.
But man, that's a great way to come out of the gate.
Oh yeah, it's part of my upbringing. Again, Curtis Mayfield. It was that song, and Love is the Key was definitely inspired by Curtis Mayfield, and actually just the whole North Side R&B soul sound of the 60s and 70s. My father and his brothers and cousins had groups in that same area, and Curtis Mayfield was not only from Chicago, but he's from the area that I grew up in.
Right.
And so that area had a particular sound that I've always been familiar with, and so definitely influenced, but something that I just can't help. It comes out that way, just comes out that way.
Speaking of spirituality, speaking of your guitar playing, let's talk a little bit about Amen, because this is the opposite of those slow jam love songs. This is just in your face.
Yeah, it's just it's an ode to God. It's an ode to being aware of yourself and being conscious of spirituality and being one with our Creator.
But what's interesting, there's rock and hip hop. It's almost an aggressive sounding song.
Yeah.
In comparison to the other songs.
Yeah, it's to me, it puts me in the spirit of Maggot Brain by Funkadelic.
I was going to say, you could find some Clinton hints.
Yes. It also reminds me of like Jay Dilla from Detroit. And yeah, just some again, the hip hop and funk and the rock is a big part of my musical history too.
Staying on the funk tip, let's talk about Psycho Majestic, Coma Like Love.
Yeah,
that's a total Funkadelic song title.
Totally Funkadelic inspired and Marvin Gaye inspired. It's a song on the album. What is that? It's called "Life's a Game of Give and Take" by Marvin Gaye. It's an outtake. It's a great song. You got to check it out. It's in our Lifetime album. That's the album.
Did not know that. Another thing I like on the album, again, there's so much going on. I love horns on a song, and you use horns to your own advantage.
Yes,
on a couple songs especially. There's nothing like a good horn section.
Oh my goodness, no, man. I had some great. Was very fortunate to have some really great players. Marquell Jordan and. Who's here in Chicago, who's a great artist in his own right, and Donald Hayes, also from Los Angeles, California, who is also a smooth jazz artist, and Leon Q, and just to name a few guys.
If you're watching on Facebook Live, if you're listening to the podcast, I can't recommend this album strongly enough. Honestly, it's getting kind of dark out. It's going to feel pretty cool to listen to that when it's dark outside. But this is, I listen to it at work. It's great. Just kind of to have it on the background. It kind of keeps you moving through the day. It's just a little bit of something that'll strike you in every right way. You did a really nice job on this album.
I really appreciate it. You spent enough time on it.
I bet you did. Let's bust up in some more food.
Oh yeah, cool. Let's get one more little bite of the sandwich.
Again, we are at Stefani Prime on Cicero and Pratt. Now, what did he say? Is this another? We both got steak sandwiches.
Wow. Well,
okay.
I had to work it out.
Okay. We both got steak. This is glorious.
Oh, so
They'll get this in catering backstage at the John Mayer show,
hey,
huh?
Man, listen.
All right, now we've got like an antipasto, like almost like a charcuterie thing going on here. Jesus. I'm gonna have to hold this up. So there's sopressata in here, mortadella. Forgot everything he said. Of course, Parmesan.
All right,
look at that.
That's beautiful.
You're gonna help me with this, right?
I will definitely help you.
Oh man. And we're friends now. We can use our hands, right?
We're good.
Yeah. All right. Just grab some cured meat and.
Oh yeah, have at it.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna grab a little cheese with this.
Let's see here.
Stefani Prime again. There's really nothing like this in the area. This is a gift
Great.
to the north suburbs, the near north suburbs.
That's beautiful. That's nice.
Oh my God.
Wow. That's great.
I'm getting to a question. So, you won a Grammy for your work on D'Angelo's album. What was that, 2014?
2015.
2015.
Yes, the Black Messiah album. Yes.
How did that feel? Did you think that the album was going to win?
I was hoping that it would, not so that I could win a Grammy, but because I felt like D'Angelo was very deserving of it. He's one of the legends and icons of the soul music of our generation now, and I'm such a fan of his music. So I felt like he was the proper person to win, and so I thank him for actually allowing myself as well as the rest of the Vanguard to be a part of that musical genius body of work that he's created. So
the challenge I have, Isaiah, when I talk to you, it's too easy to talk about the people you're working with, like D'Angelo and Mayer, and that's why I want to stress this latest solo album is so good. I mean, you're such a spectacular solo artist, but it's hard not to acknowledge that, oh, you won a Grammy for your work with D'Angelo. Oh, you're currently on tour with John Mayer. I mean, it's hard not to acknowledge that stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's definitely a beautiful accomplishment, and I'm very grateful for it, and I've learned a lot from those situations that helped me, make decisions with recording decisions, techniques, and just learning, what it is that I need to do to make, things quality and all those different things like that. So definitely learn a lot.
All right, so looking ahead, the Mayer tour is paused for right now. It resumes in September, so you're going back on the road. Does that give you time to promote the new album? Are you going to do some Isaiah shows?
Actually, we go back out on the 29th of August.
Oh, man. I thought for some reason you had more time than that.
Oh, not much time.
I can't believe August is almost over.
It's
but
almost
here we are.
over. Yeah. So between now and that time, I have a show with my band. We're going to be doing St. Louis on the 22nd of this month at BB's Jazz, Blues, and Soups.
Nice.
And then we're going to be doing Cervantes in Denver, Colorado on the 23rd. And so we're going to do those two shows. I'll do some more Mayer dates, come back home, do a couple more shows, go do some more Mayer, and then come back home and really dive into promoting the album. Here and everywhere else.
Because I'm not hearing a Chicago date as you're talking about all these plans.
Well, September, we are planning on having a date, at Joe's on Weed Street.
Oh, perfect.
So, we're still working it out, but I'm sure it'll happen.
I will be there. I look forward to seeing you.
Please do. Please be there.
I'm not worried about a crowd showing up. But all right, Isaiah, thank you for doing this.
No problem, man.
I don't want to say your career trajectory is falling down, but you won a Grammy. You were on stage at the United Center for 2 nights with Mayer, and now you're sitting in a stranger's car in a parking lot.
That's feeding me.
That's true.
No, I'm just kidding.
That's true. But thank you. You're an amazing, talented dude. I really appreciate hanging with you. Car Con Carne presented by the Autobarn Mazda of Evanston, 1015 Chicago Avenue. I want to thank our new friends at Stefani Prime. We'll come back here, right?
Absolutely.
Did you see they've got like a fire pit, outdoor dining thing with like torches and stuff?
I got to check it out.
Oh my gosh.
I saw it. I got to go experience it now.
If I'm going to have a steak and a man cocktail, that's where I want to be sitting.
That's it.
Anyway, thank you for watching on Facebook Live or YouTube or wherever you're watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being Isaiah.